Do you remember when in Naruto Obito was revealed to be Toby? For like a solid week after that, all that in my mind I could see was Obito. Obito. For the next 2 weeks, the only thing will be in my mind is the number 4. How's it going, everybody? I'm Gio the Foolish Assassin. Today we're talking about One Piece chapter 783 titled You're in the Way. And this chapter was, this chapter was really fantastic. We finally get into this fight with Luffy versus Doflamingo. I wasn't really excited for this fight, you know what I'm saying, because I really wanted someone else to fight Doflamingo, fight the main villain for once, Zoro with his swords versus someone who uses string, or Kairos, because, he has kind of this vendetta against Doflamingo for taking out King Riku, but as this fight is going on, I'm really getting hyped for it. It's starting to become like my second favorite fight throughout the whole series. My first being Luffy versus Rob Lucci. But let's get into it. Let's discuss and see what's going on. All right, so the chapter starts off with Trouble, exploding, like as in the last chapter when he did that final resort suicide attack. Luffy and Doflamingo goes flying, and as we see Nika, Robin, Kairos, and Rebecca with his own title, they're still on the ground. They see the explosion going on, and as we see, Luffy is carrying Trafalgar Law's body or whatever. And at first I didn't notice it, but I was kind of hoping, I thought it would be kind of fucked up. But as you can see, Law, he's holding his arm, his severed arm, like under his other arm or whatever. And Luffy has a sword. And Luffy yells to Robin. He was like, yo, take care of Law. You know what I'm saying? While I fight Doflamingo, get him patched up or whatever. And I'm going to take care of him. So he throws Law at Robin, and she does like a spider's web or whatever. Spider net. And Doflamingo, he says he's not gonna let Law get away that easily. He does like a termite, I think it was called a termite bullet, and he does it like really fast. And Luffy tries to block it with like a hockey embedded hawk whip or whatever, but it's too fast. And that's when we see Cavendish. He has to speed in, and he protects Robin with his precious metal axe move or whatever. And so as we see, Cavendish, he's like, yo, Luffy, what are you doing? This fight should have been over by now. And then Luffy's like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I don't have time to deal with this. Please take care of, Law for me. Take care of everybody. Make sure everybody is safe. That's what I need you to take care of. And then Cavendish's fucked up mind, he says, he connects Luffy saying, please take care of this for me as I take care of Doflamingo. He connects that to Luffy being a fan. He was like, oh, well, if a fan asks for my help, then, I can't, turn him down. And so we see Kairos, he's yelling at Bartolomeo. He's like, yo, man, we need your stairs so we can get down so we can be able to wait for Luffy. And Bartolomeo, he's just on the side. He's like, oh, Zoro senpai. He's crying. And so Doflamingo is like, enough is enough, Straw Hat. Law's life is hanging right in balance. Why don't you just let me take care of it, instead of let me just end his suffering. And Luffy is like, yeah, over my dead body. And they have a little bit of a going back and forth. Doflamingo, he says, oh, you're getting really tired, Straw Hat, you know what I'm saying? And then Luffy is like, oh yeah, but you're getting tired too. And he hits him with like I believe that is a Badooska. I am probably a little bit wrong. And Doflamingo, he takes the punch, he just eats it. He's like, you do have the speed on you, but you lack the power needed to even affect me, whatever. And then Doflamingo, he hits him with an overheat. Luffy dodges it, but it cuts his leg, and he just slices the building in half. That's right behind Luffy. And then he speeds behind Luffy, and he was like, he says, this brings back memories of when I first discovered you, when you fought Crocodile, and I just discovered your name, and then you came falling out of the sky during the Whitebeard War. And he was like, and now you're coming into my territory or whatever. And he kicks Luffy into the building, and the building completely shatters. Luffy has to, discover, find his footing or whatever, so that he just doesn't fall back down. He has to work his way back up again. And as we see, Cavendish and Robin, they're trying to run away with Law, trying to, get him healed up or whatever, to try to take him to a safe area so Leo can sew his arm back on, and Manchuri, I believe her name is. I might be saying it a little bit wrong. So she can like cry on the wound and it'll heal more perfectly or whatever. And Law, he stops Cavendish. He says, I don't want to leave. leave me here. You guys go. I want to stay. I want to see this fight happen. And Cavendish is like, no, you got to go. You got to get healed. And as Law is going on this speech, we see in the background Luffy and Doflamingo. They're having like a hockey battle between blows or whatever. And Law is like, no, I want to stay here because it was my job to defeat Doflamingo, but now I have to pass that on to Luffy. And now I want to see Luffy win. That is the least I can do. And if Luffy dies, I want to die right here. And Cavendish, he understands that mentality that Law wants to see this go to ground. So he says, all right, Robin, you go. I'm going to stay here with him because if he dies, then I die. I mean, he's not going to die unless I die. And so he gives up his coat and gives it to Robin because I can see Robin was hurt from Diamante's attack from like a couple chapters ago when he did those Iron Spike confetti cannon. And so Robin decides she's going to stay too. And then we cut back to Luffy and Doflamingo's fight where he does a hockey embedded grizzly knuckle. But, you know, Doflamingo, he's making quick work of, you know, just short work of Luffy. He, you know, beat him around, pushing him around, saying, you know, he doesn't have the power, or like he either has the speed but not the power, or the power but not the speed to even do anything. He said that's Luffy's main problem, that he cannot close that gap in between them. And then he goes on to talk about how the bird cage is slowly shrinking in, and Luffy has an hour before everyone's dead, and he has 30 minutes before people start to die. So this kind of sets up a time limit. So Luffy cannot bullshit around with Doflamingo at this point. He has to get rid of Doflamingo, I would say within 30 minutes, because I wouldn't risk that 20-minute gap. I mean, that 10-minute gap or whatever. So he has to get rid of Doflamingo within this 20 minutes, get rid of that bird cage, which this is something that's kind of bothering me ever since the bird cage just kind of set up. And it was like, why doesn't, Law or Zoro or I can't remember the Admiral's name, the one that's blind. Why don't they just cut the bird cage or whatever? Or why don't someone dig under the bird cage out? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just, plot device or whatever. But because they never really explained. They didn't, Doflamingo didn't explicitly say that they could go under it. And it doesn't seem like the bird cage is affecting the ground as it's coming in. I mean, like, it's cutting the buildings or whatever, anything that's above ground level, but everything on the ground is just, kind of sweeping under the bird cage. So I don't know. That's just a thing that I noticed. Doflamingo goes on to say that, once everyone dies, they'll start blaming Luffy, and it was your fault. All this is your fault. This country was peaceful before you came. I was a good king or whatever. And then Luffy, he goes on to say, this all lies, with the toy people there, you kept them locked up, and you're just pretty much a fucking problem. And then Doflamingo says, you've just been a thorn in my side this whole time. Like, you're just calling me problem. You're just calling me problems. You're a pain in my fucking ass. And then Luffy says, no, you have it wrong. You're a pain in my ass. You making my friends cry. You making my comrades angry. You're hurting people. You're pretty much in my way. And I'm not going to let you kill anyone else as long as I'm right here. And then this is where this shit gets fucking real. He says, also, your bird cage is in my way. And then he says, Gear 4th. And you see Doflamingo's face. He's just super fucking serious. And that's where we find out that, we won't have a chapter next week. It's going to be 2-week hiatus. But yeah. And that's pretty much how the chapter ends. Alright, so within the 2 weeks, we are going to see what Gear 4th is. Now, I've been seeing some speculation here and there about how Gear 4th is going to combine both Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd. And I don't think that's going to happen because Luffy can already do both of those at the same time, as we saw with Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria. I think Gear 4th is going to be something completely new, because I don't think Oda would take the time out to rename something that Luffy can already do at this point. As to what Gear 4th is, I really don't know. I can't think of anything about what Gear 4th could be. I mean, in terms of what Luffy can do with, his ability of, the gum fruit and haki and whatever. It could be something he learned during the time skip. I mean, obviously it is something he learned during the time skip, but it could be something that we haven't seen yet. Like, we've seen that he has better control over his Gear 3rd, and we've seen he has better control over his Gear 2nd, and we see that he can now freely move his limbs at will and stretch them at will. We see all that after the time skip, but this Gear Forth could be something completely new, something completely, you know, out of left field that we never saw before. As what it could be, I don't know. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Luffy could become a giant. I've seen some places here where Luffy might become muscular, like, you know, people like, because he really doesn't have that kind of muscle mass, so he could be like actually gain like muscle mass, which will increase his speed and his strength. I'm not really feeling that idea. But as we can see though in the chapter, he's like it looks like he might be taking a bite out of his arm, but I really can't tell. But if he's taking a bite out of his arm, then that must mean he must be doing something. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait that 2 weeks, which kind of sucks. I'll also like to comment on the fact that Law wants to stay and watch this fight happen, which is a very commendable thing for him, and it's also very commendable for Cavendish to be like, all right, I'll stay here and with you. And and then that leads to Robin and Kairos and Rebecca wanting to stay, even though Rebecca and Kairos probably shouldn't be there. They should probably get back to King Riku. Try to, help out people within the, within Dressrosa. But, yeah, I find that commendable of them wanting to stay and watch Luffy, win. Another thing is that I want to see if Doflamingo has anything else up his sleeve, because right now he is using the strings in a very creative way. He created a clone a while back, which I didn't think he could do, and also it was revealed last chapter that he could stitch up his wounds on the inside at will. And as we someone pointed this out like maybe 2 weeks ago, that he had an external wound, and now that's gone because of his stitching or whatever. So his stitching ability is fast reacting. So that also factors into the time limit of Luffy having to beat Doflamingo within about 30 minutes. Because if Luffy gives Doflamingo too much time, his body will heal itself. If his body will heal itself, then he's at 100% again. And then Luffy's already got the shit kicked out of them before during the tournament, and then fucking with Doflamingo trying to get to the palace and all of that. But yeah, this is overall a great chapter. Saying Gear Forth. I mean, I definitely did not see that coming as I was reading this chapter. I just thought Luffy was just gonna go in, pull out, all the stops and just, give Doflamingo hell. But no, Gear Forth, and we have to wait 2 weeks for it. So I'm pumped, for after that 2 week gap. But yeah, leave your thoughts down below. What do you think Gear Forth is going to be? Like I said, I have no idea what it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm drawing a blank right now. My best guess is that Luffy becomes like a giant or something like that, but that's already for Chopper or whatever. But but anyway, yeah, leave your thoughts down below what you think Gear Forth is going to be. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. It helps out my channel. Share it with all your friends and people that read manga and watch anime. Later on today, I might do a commentary. I'm not going to reveal what it is. But yeah, I'll say it like this: if you're into Dragon Ball Z, you should stick around, watch that commentary. It's gonna be on that. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.
There's a war going on outside, no place to run and hide. Need to open eyes if you wanna stay alive. Can't wait time when you trying to survive. Even when you die, your whole life should be alive. There's a war going on outside, no place to run and hide. Need to open eyes if you wanna stay alive. Can't wait time when you trying to survive. Even when you die, your whole life should be alive.